What's going on, everybody? Steve here again with another skate park tour. This time I'm in Madison, Indiana, a city, town situated along the Ohio River, kind of halfway between the Cincinnati area and Louisville, Kentucky area. And we're checking out the Renard Keel Memorial B3 Park, the skate park here. And it's a prefabricated park set on top of a very large cement slab, probably 3 tennis courts in size or so. So plenty of space for flat ground and stuff like that. And then obviously the prefabricated ramps. I'll take you through the park so you can see what it's all about, and hope you enjoy watching it. Now you might be able to see from the silhouettes that the park is kind of dated, and it's got the arc prefabricated ramps, all metal ramps. So they are super durable. I mean, they don't warp or anything like that. They will rust, but all in all, the park is actually in pretty decent shape despite like the graffiti and stuff like that you'll see around here. So to start things out, I'm going to stick with the kind of more BMX friendly street competition kind of course. So you can see here you've got these like symmetrical end-to-end ramps, starting out with 5-foot quarters that are about 8 feet wide, separated with a relatively tall and long flat bank. So I'm sure BMX riders do all sorts of transfers, either off the quarters and into the bank, or over the bank if they feel they're that good at airing stuff. Probably not something a skater would want to ride too much these days, but the dimensions of the quarters are, all right. I mean, they're a little bit steep. Definitely more BMX friendly than skate friendly. But the transition into the ground is pretty smooth. Kind of like skating an indoor park with wooden ramps. You've got that metal transition threshold to get onto them. But towards the middle here, you have something that's a lot more accommodating to skaters. You've got this pyramid, pretty mellow actually as far as the hips are concerned. Again, metal ramp, but I think this is actually a really good setup because it's only about 3 feet tall, enough of a slope where you can definitely get some pop off it, but not too steep, not too mellow. So really a lot of fun. And then you've got a bank to rail or a bump to rail, out rail type thing with down rail. It is square, kind of skates a little bit like a 2x6 or so. And you've got that to kind of either, skate like again, a bump to rail or a down rail, or even like a little bit of a hubble edge, since it is kind of wide on the top. So got that as an option. I would say it's about 18 inches tall or so. So a little bit of a, it does take some pop to get onto, kind of mellow, but not too bad to skate. And then on this other side, we've got a little bit of like a Euro gap type of thing going on, where your 3-foot ramp can bump you up onto about a foot tall step up. And on the other side, you've got, just your normal wedge ramp. There is kind of more of a kicker, like fly box style setup here in the middle that if you wanted to air over the flat, certainly have that as an option. Again, probably more suited for BMX. The flat top part here is about 6 to 8 feet long, depending on where you're launching from. But you do have plenty of ways to get speed to clear it. So got that as an option. And then you can see in the back, identical quarter with a bank in the middle. Don't think I'm going to be doing the backflip as they suggest, but yeah, so that's the kind of the first part there of the Madison Park. There are a few different obstacles kind of set up in the middle of the park just to skate, ride as flat. So you do have the square rail that starts to be like about 16 inches tall or so, has a kink in the middle to slope down to about an 8-inch tall rail. So kind of both beginner and intermediate. Is square, so some people aren't too keen on square flat bars. I don't really care too much. But it's nice and long. It's about 20 feet long or so. So you got, plenty of opportunity to grind or slide the whole thing if you really wanted to. And then over towards the center here, we do have a little manual pad box that's about 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, 6 or 8 inches off the ground, with coping on both ends of it. So does skate like a box, and a manual pad. And then you've got this little weird kind of wedge thing, kind of amusing to me, but really tall flat bar, about 2 feet tall, going across it. So you could skate that from flat, I guess. You do just have to have some pop. But got that as like a little thing to figure out, I guess, and have fun with. Another nice feature of this park is a very simple, straightforward 3.5, 4 foot tall mini ramp that's 12 feet wide. So wide enough to do grinds and slides across it, but not super big either. So really only one person at a time skating this thing, but it's very straightforward, probably pretty easy to figure out and get used to. But yeah, straightforward mini ramp to kind of round out the park. And then we've got a couple more obstacles that we'll get to. So this obstacle is either a throwback or a head scratcher, depending on what area you come from, but you do have this jump ramp. This guy is about 2.5 feet tall or so. Probably enough room to get speed to launch it. But like if you have seen footage from the late 80s, early 90s, you know that jump ramps are just kind of a staple of skating. Not something that people really are into as much these days. I guess you could skate at like a quarter as well, but got that as an opportunity to skate. Then we've got fly box, pretty straightforward setup for that. A little bit smaller than the one that's on the other side of the park. But you got this to kind of get used to fly box setups. The only downside with this is that there's not a lot of run up to get to it, so it's really hard to get the speed to pump over it. But between the fly box, the little pyramid, and kind of the more of the flowy bump thing, a little bit of an opportunity to kind of get used to something smaller before you get onto some of the bigger stuff on the other side of the park. And then lastly, got a square flat bar, very much a beginner flat bar, but 8 feet long, 6 or 8 inches off the ground. So have that as kind of a training mechanism as well. All right, so that does it for the Madison, Indiana Park. I hope you enjoyed the skate park tour, and definitely stay tuned for more. I've got a ton coming this summer, starting with a bunch here in the southern Indiana, northern Kentucky area. So you'll see a batch coming through as time goes on. If you have any questions about this particular park, just drop them in the comments. And if you're ever kind of passing through the Madison area, maybe you want to come check this out and get a quick session in. I don't know. Definitely a throwback metal ramps park for you to enjoy. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.